Oh, we got it on there. My name is Ivan Havisham. This is who I've become. We can get into that later. What's most important now are the decisions of men. That is what's most important right now. We need to go over the facts about what decisions were made and when and by who. Even before the Americas were the Americas, we have to go over education. We have none. People have no idea what the truth is because they don't know what the truth is, because the only truth they get is from what they get off the TV. And these men, these satanic men, own the TV. Since the social networking sites sold out to the corporations, they now own the social networking sites. The false propaganda in these memes is astronomical. Who do you think is putting it out there? The admitted think tanks in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba? What do you think they're talking about down there? It's a mind control think tank. Who do you think they want to control? Terrorists? Well, let's examine the word terrorist. Because terrorist to me is anybody who goes anywhere and kills a bunch of people just to prove a fucking point. America is the terrorist. Let's get down to the facts of who and what and when and where American people wake up. The rest of the world and our lives and everyone's lives and our salvation depend upon it. For us to wake up and see the programs of these men. See them all. See them all for what they are. These evil, sadistic, satanic, Masonic men. See them for what they are. Let's examine the facts. Since the dawn of man, man has been trying to conquer other men. For what purpose? To what end? We have been coming up with all kinds of programs. Most of them religious programs. But they're still just programs. And all of these programs have everything in one thing in common. That there's always got to be somebody that's in poverty. There's always got to be people that have to die. What is with these hateful, spiteful, murderous, malicious programs that all these old men keep wanting to happen? They're evil. Every prophecy out there speaks that good will triumph over evil. Here's our shot. With the way education is today, a couple of generations from now, our children are going to believe whatever the hell they want them to believe. Mr. African American, Mr. YOLO, Mr. Swag, your people are about to become slaves again. Are you okay with that? Mr. Drug Dealer in the ghetto, in the projects, you think you're rebelling, but you're selling the drugs that these men, through the use of the CIA, are cultivating, making, and bringing into this country. You're not rebelling. You're part of the program. They need distension. They need crime. Without crime, they can't write 40,000 laws a year restricting us, turning us into slaves without it. You're part of the program. You're not rebelling against anything. You're rebelling against yourself. Why? Gangsters, malicious men, murderers, thieves, selfish people. These are all things that these evil men need to succeed. You're blinded. You're part of the program. Your ego, it's part of the program. Mind control, what do you think they're thinking about? It's a genius program. They're making money off of blowing things up and killing people in other countries and getting cheered on for it. What a genius program it is. But these men are also making money from going in and rebuilding what their other friends blew up. Wake up! It's all part of the program. The patriotism money program. It's all designed for enslavement, domination, control, and rule. That's all these men's goals are. So we examine the facts. Alexander did it. Caesar did it. Xerxes did it. Agamemnon did it. Hitler did it. Octavian did it. It's all just a bunch of programs of rule and control. After Caesar was stabbed to death by the rest of the Senate and Brutus laid the final blow, Octavian, Caesar's nephew, was the next in the bloodline. After he won the empire from Mark Antony, who was sleeping with Cleopatra at the time, a long succession of emperors, and thus a program. Well, at the end of this long succession was an emperor named Constantine. Just about at the end of the Roman collapse, they had just about nothing left. Him and his senators got a vision, after Constantine had one, of a symbol in the sky that said, upon this symbol you will conquer. A conquerous, murderous program. These men are not men of God. All of a sudden, Constantine gets dubbed a pope, and his senators cardinals. They start sending out outposts of their program everywhere. Teaching their program. Refusing to teach anything other than their program. Killing people who spoke against their program. Using the hounds of hell. Admittedly. These men were warmongers throughout our history. They did nothing but kill. They did nothing but incite war. They did nothing but murder. Scientists, alchemists, illuminists. It's all fact. So examine the facts. Once Constantine had a good enough stranglehold on Europe and had just about everything on fucking lockdown, he figured didn't really need the hounds of hell anymore, since they were so fucking evil. So they sought him out and they killed him by burning him to death. Well, some of the men got away and they hid. It's history. It actually happened. Not a DVD on Netflix. Examine the facts. Some of them hid, ran to England. Still, they had nothing but anger in their heart for the church. Read. Examine the facts. These men became the Freemasons, and eventually the Masons, and eventually got on a boat from England and came here with a whole new program of their own. They were going to build America on the backs of the black man. It was going to be heaven on earth. The Romans had slaves, we could have slaves. But why in every single one of these programs is there slavery? Is there poverty? Every one of these programs, someone has to die. Someone has to starve. Someone has to do without. That's not a program. These are not men of God. These are men of malicious programs. Domination programs. They have done everything in their power to keep their secrets. They have bought up everything. Examine the facts. They own every single one of these corporations. They're all Masons. A satanic, worshipping sect of Masonic order. Fact. We have evidence of it. Written facts. We know it is happening. But we're not doing anything because we're lost in a program. A program of patriotism. A program of money. We have to have money to survive. Well, money is debt. That's all money is. It used to be backed by gold. It is no longer backed by gold. It is backed by gunships. We have nothing to have faith in except that these people are doing the right thing, right? Well, they're not. They're obviously not. We have footage of they're not. We have evidence that they're not. These are evil men who want to do nothing but enslave the planet. America is first. Europe. Do you think you're going to remain untouched? Hitler did it. Caesar did it. Alexander did it. Now it's just democracy doing it. That's all. Any program that says a man has to die or a child has to die is a bad program. I think we can all agree that no children have to die. Nobody wants that. So what the hell are we doing it for? A dead resource that we really don't even need anymore with the technology we have created? It makes no sense. What are we doing? We're lost in a program. This program is getting deeper and deeper and deeper in our heads because we have nothing else to believe in. Well, that's crap. If man is made in the image of God, then every man should treat every man as if he were God. Man creates the heavens here on earth by the willingness and the amount of love he exerts. We all can agree that God is love. Love is the ultimate answer to everything. We can all agree to that. So, let's examine the facts. Let's get to the facts. Let's watch these men. Let's go over our history and watch it like a movie if we have to. But let's examine the facts. They're able to give you whatever false information they want to over these social internet sites. Everybody chewing up the propaganda as quick as they can. I believe in this. I want to believe in that. I want to believe in this. I want to believe in that. But in order to believe in what I want to believe, you have to die. Why? Hating one another is essentially hating God if we are made in His image. Killing one another is essentially killing God if we are made in His image. Sounds like a better program to me. Education, we have none. We have 60-year-old 6th graders running around with voting rights and bank accounts and IRAs and faith in the patriotism program. I don't have faith in the patriotism program any longer. This is not the country that I joined the fight in the Marine Corps for. Wasn't what I was spoon-fed to go fight for, to go to boot camp for, become a Marine. Cried my eyes out at the top of that mountain. I think we all did. We thought we were doing something for America, but we didn't understand what America really actually stands for because we were never given the facts. They need the Middle East to be in ruins. They need it to be in disarray in order to prove to you that it's in disarray. They have caught British soldiers riding around in trucks dressed as Arabs, shooting up neighborhoods to piss people off. Fact. The men who rule this country, who are they? Are they men of the people, for the people? No. They are heirs to ketchup fortunes, owners of baseball teams, owners of worldwide construction companies. Think about who is the leaders and what they have done, the decisions that have been made. I'm not saying maybe 9/11 wasn't some, idiot terrorists that couldn't even fly planes. But let's examine the facts. 4 of the hijackers are still alive. Fact. There's evidence all over the place of a massive CIA cover-up. Fact. The use of thermetic material, nanothermetic material, was found. Fact. The beams cut at 45-degree angles as if you would go in and do a controlled demolition. Fact. They cannot deny what we have seen. We know it's there. That's why we're such an unrest. We are not depressed because of some chemical. We are depressed because we are spiritually broken. We are angry, not bipolar, because we realize that this program of debt, this program of patriotism, has no end to it. There's no end to the stress. There's no end to the sorrow. There's no end to it. So some of us go out and drink. Some of us go out and get addicted to drugs that our own CIAs are bringing in here. Then we get in trouble, we get locked up, and we get into the system. Now they know who you are. We have 40,000 laws a year going into effect today. Everyone's breaking the law, so everyone, they know who you are. They've got cameras to prove so. They got cameras watching you. They have drones flying over you right now as we speak. It took the Attorney General an hour and a half to admit that it's unconstitutional to drone missile attack a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil. Who, in their right minds, thinking righteously amongst men, would take an hour and a half to admit that it's unconstitutional? Maybe people with an agenda. These people with an agenda tried it before when they tried to overthrow Roosevelt, using America's last patriot to do it, Smedley Butler. Fact. These men, amongst the men, were men of the Bush family, Standard Oil Company, Goodyear Tire, Heinz Ketchup. Fact. Who was running for president just a few terms ago? John Kerry, the heir to the Heinz Ketchup fortune. Wake up. Halliburton, they're the men making money off of going in and rebuilding what their other buddies in Boeing have destroyed. Bush's wife sits on the board at Lockheed Martin, Boeing's, I guess, sister company, if you want to call it that. Sister companies of war, sister companies of a program. A program that someone always has to die. Why? This is not anywhere near a godlike program. If man is made in the image of God, then killing God is just the same. They're using your love against you. Your love of God, your love of anything spiritual. They're using it against you from the start. It was all a program, a mind manipulative program to enter you into slavery so that they could tell you what to do. I don't know what God is, but I know what He isn't. And He isn't a murderer. He isn't a slave owner. Because we've all established that God is love. And murder is not loving. Slavery is not loving. Exploitation is not loving. That is the truth. Because anything loving is the truth. We have to examine the facts. We have to go over what they're feeding us and what they're using to do it. These men own the media. These men own social media. If you can remember, before Mark Zuckerberg sold out to Facebook, it was pretty kick-ass. And then it got as soon as they sold out, man, it became tits and ass and Miss Socials and anything sexual. Anything possibly that they could get on there sexual. Dating sites. Dating sites, there's a fucking dating site for every fetish out there. Who do you think is putting these out there? Where do you think this money is going? They need the corruption in the society. They need the distension amongst the ranks. They need the distension amongst the species. They need us splintered. I believe in this, I believe in that. You believe in this, I believe in that. Well, fuck you. You have to die because you believe in this. It's all bullshit. It's all a program. We think we're signing up to go fight in a war because we're doing a patriot duty. We were. We truly were. We didn't know that that patriotic duty was murder. It was false. There were no weapons of mass destruction. It was all a ruse. We never found them. Facts. Oh, they can't hide anything this big? Oh, no, but they can't hide the missiles or the sites where they used to build them or anything like that. Saddam Hussein pretty much had nothing left after the Desert Storm. We beat him into submission, but he was fucking still clutching on to what he thought he had in his program. So finally, they said, enough is enough. We're going to get your oil. We're going to get your resource. There's nothing you or any of your people can do about it because we're going to do it and get cheered on by our people. It was all part of a program for this primitive resource we do not need anymore. We have solar energy, wind energy, antimatter energy. Hell, with them, with just antimatter energy, we could even figure out a new propulsion system for space. It could be amazing, but we can't do it because before Constantine got rid of his hounds of hell, they went through and killed all the scientists who were trying to say anything otherwise. Galileo burnt at the stake. Fact. History. These men did what they did to keep their truth. What's the easiest way to get a program in? You breed it in. You breed it in with education. You breed it in with weekly visits to a church, listen to a man at a podium. Although there's a lot of truth to what these men say, there's a lot of truth to what these men say in the synagogues. There's a lot of truth to what these men say in the mosques. But any program that says that one man has to be impoverished, or one child must die, or anyone must die, is a bad program. We have to go over history and examine the facts and come up with a new program. One of love, one of peace, one of sharing. Why buy and steal when you can just have everything? Why? Because we have the capabilities as a human species to do so. You want an extravagant home? There's always going to be people out there that want to build homes. Why? Because they're good at it. They love carving wood. They love laying marble tile. I'm a marble tile guy. I love laying marble tile. There's always going to be people to do the things that we need them to do. We just don't have to do it for money when we have everything we want. We have the capabilities of having everyone in the entire world having a 100-inch Aqueous TV with an Xbox right there, an Xbox Live, flipping a switch, and the whole world is Wi-Fi. We don't do it because we charge each other $50 for 23 of the megs of the 500 that we have the capabilities of flipping the switch for. It's all a program. If we examine the facts, we realize that all we are batteries for a Satanist's vibrator. In this program, we do nothing but make sure that a bunch of men, these evil men, will live nicely. 34,000 children die each year. in this world because of these stupid programs, these malicious, hateful, murderous programs, these tyrannical programs. The world doesn't need any more of these fucking programs. There is no one program that's ever really going to work because we're all human beings. It doesn't matter how we arrive at the truth. The truth is love. Love is God. Love is truth. If man is made in the image of God, then man is truth. Understanding ourselves is understanding God. Understanding God is understanding love. Let's examine the facts. Let's examine ourselves for a minute. Let's think about who and what and when and where and why. Who said what quotes? Who's been recorded? Who's been videoed saying what? We can go over all of it. We have it all on TiVo. We have it all on YouTube. We have it all going on. The rest of the world's trying to show you. Through Expose the Truth sites, Soldiers of Truth sites, Wake Up sites, Zeitgeist sites. They're trying to show you that this program of patriotism is going to kill the world. They are scared to death for Americans. But you don't hear any of it because they own the media that tells you what to hear. They own the social networking sites that tell you what to believe. These things are reality. Our perception is reality. If you are still going to remain in the perception of this program, then that is your reality. And still, people have to die. And still, there always must be poverty. And still, there always must be people living awesomeness while others live shit. This is your reality. This is your program. But instead, think around the program. Open your eye of Horus. Fact. Eye of Horus. Taken directly from our bisected brainstem. Our ancients understood that if we are created in the image of man, then every man is God and should be treated as such. They still had their ideas of slavery and being gods themselves. But we are merely humans. We did not create where we live. Something else did. We did not create how we were created. Something else did. We can all establish that. We just don't know what. It's cool. Let's examine ourselves and find out. Let's examine the universe and find out. Let's stop relying on men and their power to tell us what to do. When we have the technological capabilities today that every man is in charge. We take charge. We tell them the truth. What about this fact and what about that fact? We investigate them. Just like any species, there's always the evil one of them. There's always one that wants to go against the species. Just like the wolf. We eradicate them. They want to eradicate you. But we don't have to kill them. We can just force them to live our program. And it's one that men don't have to die. Children, innocent children, don't have to get blown up by drone missile attacks in a country we're not even at war with. People don't have to live impoverished. Every man can have a home. And if man is made in the image of God, then every home is a house of God. We build extravagant homes for ourselves, extravagant amphitheaters. For entertainment. Entertainment fucking rocks. Rock and roll rocks. Music rocks. Sound will always rock. movies, games, technology. We rock. We have come up with all of this. And we've made advancements far from what we have in our living rooms today. But we have learned how to nickel and dime each other into debt so far that we count on these things for survival. We practically count on cell phones for survival. We eat seeds. We eat foods that are grown by these corporations that make us sick, that are owned by these men. We eat the food, we get sick. We have to go to the hospital. We have to get on medications made by corporations that these men own. What a genius program it is. You are blinded and lost in a program that anyone has to be sick. 34,000 children die each year of diseases that could have been prevented. From impoverishment, exposure to the elements, starvation, missile attacks. What kind of program is this? Why are we living in such a program? Because these other men said so? Well, let's examine the facts of history, natural history. The reason why archaeology was born. The reason why alchemy was born. That's just the way it is. We are humans. We want to find out. We're inquisitive. We're inquisitive people. We want to know what's going on with us around the world. That's why we're glued to the TV every night in our living rooms. That's why we're glued to these social networking sites every night in our living rooms. It's because we want to know what's going on with our own people. And then we see these disgusting pictures of children starving. And think, oh God, please help them. Well, the decisions to help them are in the hands of men. So when you are praying God to please help them and the decisions are in the hands of these men, are you praying to God or are you praying to the men who make decisions? Well, it's high time we all made the decisions. It's high time that we all made the decision to stand against tyranny, to stand against hateful, to stand against spiteful, to stand against murderousness, to maliciousness. We stand against these programs any longer. Man cannot kill God any longer. Man cannot hate God any longer. And we are man, made in the image of God. So we look back amongst our treacherous and documented path. And we look at all the people and their programs and how they spread their programs, what they did to spread their programs, who it was that spread the programs. And we examine the programs themselves based on fact, what we know to be academically true, not what they have told us. We must wake up. See the truth, because man is truth, because God is truth, and man is made in the image of God. We have a duty to bring these men to justice and to change this world. We have a duty. We have a duty to rethink a program. Change is inevitable. 250 years from now, they'll probably have a better idea, but I'm hoping that it remains loving. We are the ones who decide. When we pray to God, we are the ones who make these decisions. Because man becomes his own God when he creates the heavens here on earth by the amount of love he exerts, the amount of God, because God is love. This is what I want to know everyone to be true. I'm not trying to offend anyone. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I just want to wake people up from the truth, from what's going on. Your perception is your reality. If you can shed the perception of this program and look through to see reality, see the forest through the trees, so to speak, a different reality may be reborn. We could rebirth the earth with love and true compassion through truth, understanding, and charity, which we all know to be the answers. Love is the ultimate answer to everything in every book, in every fable, in every fairy tale. But in all those other programs, somebody always had to die. In all those other programs, someone was always had to be impoverished. Someone always had to live in mutt huts. This is ridiculous. There is enough land to go around. We can figure out different stuff, but there are more people on Facebook today than were in the world 200 years ago. Mathematically, statistically, censusly done. Because that was the program. Be fruitful, multiply, create more slaves. That's what they have done. That was their program. Create more people to do our bidding. Create more people to bring us stuff. Especially shiny stuff. Money is the root of all evil, says the man surrounded by gold. How does that make any sense? Servants of God need not sit on golden thrones. One chair could have eradicated poverty in Haiti, could have rebuilt it. Done. But instead we have prophet preachers on TV saying they got what they deserved because they made a deal with the devil to get their country back. Why do we believe such absurdities? Why do we believe such programs? Why in every single one of these programs is it always necessary for a man to be beaten, for a man to be killed, for a man to be enslaved, for a man to be exploited? Why in all these programs is it necessary? Think to yourself why. And think to yourself who wrote these programs into play, when they were written into play. Because our program of patriotism went into play in 1913 when the Federal Reserve was established by the Bush family, J.P. Morgan, the Rockefellers. They make money off of making money. What a genius program it is. You follow the bloodlines of these men. Follow their family trees. You will see that these men are Masons. This Masonic, satanic worshipping sect has been going on for a while. Since before the Americas, you people don't understand. Satan, or evil, in all prophecies, has always had his minions. But as a species, we can learn how to seek out and eradicate and snuff that part of our species out. Scientifically, spiritually, educationally, by teaching the truth, by teaching actual history, not just what they want to. We have the capabilities of learning anything we want through this medium of internet. But yet we wait and we pay tens of thousands of dollars and hundreds of thousands of dollars to these universities and Ivy League schools, state universities, community colleges, to get the education that they want you to have, which is arbitrary because it's not the truth. It doesn't teach any of the history of how this country was formed, or who formed it, or why. They give you what they did. We have a whole society of people who still believe, or want to believe, that the United States was founded upon Christian ideals. Thomas Jefferson is quoting to say Christianity had nothing to do with it ever. He was one of the good positive atheists amongst the Masonic order. Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, they were positive atheists amongst the Masonic order. There was still dissension. But in 1934, when Roosevelt was bought out by the same people who tried to overthrow and kill him, by the use of Smedley Butler and $34 million and 500,000 troops, dissension among the Masonic order was destroyed. It rose again when John F. Kennedy was president. But that ended very quickly now, didn't it? The dissension amongst these ranks has been and always will be total and social control. Domination, rule. That's all they want. That's all Constantine wanted when he came up with his program. We probably would have been better off had we stayed under Catholicism. Europe is actually fairly decent. But eventually it's all just slavery. It's all just a power program. It's a program where always someone has to die. Always someone has to be punished for not believing. There is no one program that will ever work in this world. Truth is truth, and it matters not, does not matter how you arrive at that truth. And we have all arrived at a truth that God is love. Now, if God is love, and man is made in the image of God, then man is love. And we are certainly not loving in this day and age, in our past, in our existence. So we examine the facts, and we go from there. That's what we do. As humans, as human beings, as a species, every species on this planet has had to adapt and learn how to survive. And every species on this planet knows that solidarity is the key to survival to any species. Every species knows love in one way, shape, or another if you examine behavior. Dogs, cats, you can't tell me they don't love you. They may have a sort of natural selection love for things, as in you're the prey and they love you because you're going to feed them and keep them alive. But they don't mean it out of hate. They just mean it out of being a species. We all want to... I'm not saying that you're capable of understanding the truth just yet. We're going to go over it step by step by step by step by step. Every step of it, I will show you every single fact that I have uncovered. Every one of them. We'll go step by step. The men who made every one of these happen. Every bill that's been written into law. Who's been writing these bills? Let's examine the facts. We have history written down. Let's just go over it every once in a while. How about it? Let's just not forget about what actually happened and go with what they really want us to believe by the use of their media, by the use of their social networking sites. Let's use these media. Let's use this media. And let's use these social networking sites. Let's use these YouTube channels. Let's use them against them. It is their weapon of mass destruction to manipulate you into a program. So let's use this medium against them in their program. Let's tell them we don't need a program where people have to die anymore needlessly and selflessly anymore. We don't have to have children sick in hospitals anymore when we have cures for their ailments. We just don't want to give it to them because there ain't no money in humanity. Let's tell them that we believe in humanity and we have faith in our God because God is love. No matter what our God is, we have faith. Abraham, how many times did he have to prove his faith to God? Another story that man must prove his faith over and over and over again. And right now we are letting satanic, Masonic men create chaos, create terror, commit murder, and we're cheering them on. What a genius program it is. Let's tell them enough is enough. We want the facts. Get out of our way. We want the facts. Congress, leave now. We want the facts. Let's investigate as citizens. I'm sure they will call me every name in the book. From terrorists to Antichrist. They'll say whatever they have to in order to silence the real version of the truth. The honest version of the truth. The only version of the truth that makes sense. The only version of the truth that we admittedly don't understand all of it. None of us do. So we just examine the facts and start understanding ourselves, understanding this planet, understanding this universe, understanding the Creator by understanding it. Understanding ourselves is understanding God. Understanding God is understanding love. Let's get down to the brass tacks of what's really fucking going on here. What does every person in the world need to survive? Money. There's always been a quest for coin amongst these programs. Got to make more money because then I'll be able to buy nicer stuff. My stuff is your stuff and our stuff is our stuff. We have the capabilities of everybody having stuff. Why do we gotta fucking steal it? Why do we gotta pay for it? Doesn't make any sense. You know, we do our part, but we get what we want. We get what we need because we have the capabilities of doing so. Everyone could have clean water. I mean, Jesus. I can't even count how many miles of underground fucking pipe I've ran in my decade of being a sprinkler fitter. Everyone can have clean water no matter where it's at. Everyone can have a clean water system no matter where it's at. We don't have to privatize these people's water supply and send them into full revolt anymore. We do not need to send in economic hitmen to make sure it happens. We do not need to send in the CIA anywhere because we don't need a CIA. It's paranoia. It's men with agendas. The only reason any man would think that another man has an agenda is because he has an agenda of his own. It is plain and simple. It does not take a genius psychologist to figure it out. This is human behavior. This is how we act. There will always be bad apples. There will always be murderers. There will always be people who just want more. But by education, love, and understanding, we weed that type of program out. The advancement of the species becomes number one. Every man is made in the image of God. Not just one. Not just one color. Not just one religion. Every man is made in the image of God. So why does it matter what color we are? We are all sons under the Almighty Sun, the giver of light, the creator, the giver of life. Everything amongst our universe, everything that we are, the space between us, the dark matter between us, it's all part of us. It's all everything. It's all the creation. We are just part of the creation, made in the image of God. We are all connected. Everything we do affects everything else. Through the 6 degrees of separation, you'll see that to be true. I can prove it mathematically if you'd like as well. We have to start thinking about the facts. We have to start thinking beyond the realm of a program. Start thinking that the program can be the program. Constantly evolving. Constantly changing. Constantly doing things to help one another. If we move in a forward direction of constant help, constant healing, constant love, where do you think this species could go? If we discover how to harness, store, and distribute the use of antimatter energy, we could do it block by block for free because it's just done, because we have the capabilities of doing so. Everyone has power. We stop using oil to move our cars around and we start using something else. Eventually we could have little antimatter energy reactors inside our cars that are moving our cars around. Why have police pulling people over for DWIs when we have the capabilities and technology right now that if a car swerves out of line or swerves out of the lane more than 2 or 3 times, it automatically, safely pulls itself over, slows itself down, stops itself, and shuts itself off. But yet we're constantly imprisoning people that just don't know how to handle themselves and don't know how to handle their emotions. They know who you are now. You're a threat. You're a threat to their program. Any person that has any inkling of thinking for themselves is a threat to their program. Why can't we all think for ourselves? Why can't we all think for each other? If man is made in the image of God, then every man should be treated and thought of as a God. You know, we walk over homeless men. No one knows why they're homeless. If they're there for a reason, probably mostly decisions of their own. But they got lost in the program. People don't die in the middle of the wilderness most of the time out of exposure to the elements. Sure, it finally gets them. But you would think they die of despair. They're at one point, they just lose all hope. And addiction to drugs, addiction to alcohol, addiction to money, addiction to the program, addiction here, addiction to sex, addiction to tits and ass. These are all just manifests of a spiritually broken person that needs to find guidance. Just a person that needs to understand himself, and understanding himself is understanding God. None of us have control over what's going to happen next. But what we do have control over is whether or not people are going to be murdered. Whether or not an agenda has to be had. We have that control. There are things that are beyond our control. But there are things that are well within our grasp of control. Because we as men can strive together to have a basic understanding and bring peace to this planet. It ain't going to happen overnight because people are still going to want their program. People are still going to want to believe in their program. It's the only thing they have. But what they don't understand is if it's the only thing they have, and they have been doing good for their fellow man, then they see the truth anyway. So regardless of what program, they're still seeing the truth and doing what's asked of them by our Creator. We want everything in nature wants it to succeed. That's why it has obstacles. We have to prove that we can succeed. But as these obstacles come, is when these things upon this planet adapt. If you put a plant under a shelf, it grows along the plant. It adapts. Everything adapts. Larger dogs couldn't get through the brush while hunting, so they adapted and became smaller. They adapted. We can adapt. We can adapt to a new program. We can adapt to a program where everyone in the world has everything. Without ever being in debt, without ever being stressed. We can have a program of education. We can have a program of family. So people aren't depressed. We got 80% of the country's weekend dads. Of course they're depressed. You're without your love. Those are your children. Those are your love. Those are your mini yous. Those are your mini gods. It doesn't take a genius psychologist to figure it out. You don't need to be medicated. You need your family back. You need your kids back. We need to start rebuilding the idea of family. We need to start rebuilding the idea of what it means to love someone. It's not just that they're hot and they got swag. Swag only lasts for so long. As soon as the luxury and the newness of the swag is gone, then what's left in the wake is someone needing more love from someone else. And children left from broken homes. Everything that happens from the time in the womb, psychologically, everything that happens in our womb, outside of the womb as we're babies, noises in the house, everything. These are things that affect our species. They affect us. They affect our psyche. They're affecting God. Made in the image. We have a choice at this precipice of mankind to decide whether or not we want to survive or whether we want to keep with these murderous programs. That's basically all that it boils down to. If you examine the facts, who is who and what is what, when is where is when, who is what is who, the whole 9 yards, let's examine all of it. It's not too deep when we start breaking down the program. We can simplify the program and I'll show it to you. When the actual patriotism program came to be, they stiffened their program. They had already had the money program. J.P. Morgan made a big scare so that they could have that. Charles Lindbergh warned us against it. He spoke many times over it, but everyone was getting rich, so nobody cared. We didn't see the program because we couldn't see the forest through the trees. Now, as these laws are written, you gotta watch who signed them. You got to watch who advocated them, who was on the committee for them, who wrote them, and see who their families are. And you will see what is really truly going on. Bold love. Believe it. Believe. We can reprogram this earth. We can rebirth the earth. All we have to do is come to a basic understanding that, yes, you got some stuff and you got some pretty kick-ass land. Well, why don't we make some really kick-butt fruits that don't kill people? Lettuce, plants, animals, the whole 9 yards. We use the earth and the universe as one to provide us sustenance, but every man gets that sustenance for absolutely no other reason but for we have the capabilities to do it. It's really that simple. There's always going to be bad people. I realize that. But we cannot wait. We cannot wait for anyone else to take a stand for us. It's time that we have to take a stand for ourselves. 2,000 years ago, Jesus did it, and he got murdered for his trouble, if you believe in that story. Well, it's high time that we took up his fight. We took up the idea of sharing, being cool with one another, doing things for one another, that we just do it. Because we love them and we just want to make them feel like gods. Because he is made in the image of God. Every man. There's truth in everything. The Holy Bible, the Greek Bible, the Egyptian Bible. In all of it. The Mahabharata and Sanskrits, the Sumerian tablets. There's truth in all of it. The underlying truth in all of it that we all have a common denominator on is that God is truth and God is love. But if God is love, then every man on the planet should treat every other man as if he were God. For man is made in the image of God. We need to think about the facts. Get the facts, understand the facts, and move on. As a world, as a society, as a country, as a people, as a species, we need to do this.